Yeah, we absolutely are. I mean, the good news is that in our matchup that's happening right now in Bleed versus Los is that neither of these teams are in danger of going home. Win or lose, you're still in this tournament.
That's true.
The problem is that if you lose, then you play CAG. Could we have a rematch? Could Bleed square off against CAG in a best of 3? That would be entertaining to watch. I think a best of 1 doesn't always give us the greatest insight into how a team is going to perform. Yesterday, Bleed were inarguably better in that best of 1 than CAG. But who knows what happens when you have to go into a deeper map pool. Los right now, obviously, I would argue the most experienced team in this group at the moment. And they're going up against a best of 1 against Bleed. And where are they going?
Not Consulate, not Skyscraper. Oh, it's a long list this time. Not Oregon, not Border. So where will it be? It's like
put it up.
Clubhouse, Bank, Chalet, Cafe, the Nighthaven, just Labs, actually. Just Labs. Now, there's some story here for Los. Because they played this map 3 times in Brazil. Won it twice, lost it once. And the thing about Bleed is that they played a single time in LCQ against Fury, actually, who's also at this event. And they won 7-0. So while Bleed, they don't get to play the map very often, they have a 100% win rate in one game, of course, winning 7-0. Whereas Los, they go there as often as possible, so it's not a surprise to see Los try and challenge Bleed on this map.
Yeah, I mean, it should be familiar territory for both teams, though only playing it one time in the LCQ could be because the other teams might not be the most familiar with it, right? Bleed very well might want to go to this map, but if teams are banning it against you, especially when it comes down to a singular best of 1, then you're not going to be able to go to it. We're going to waste no time. We're going to spare no expense. We'll get underway with our very first matchup here on the B stream. Bleed hailing from Southeast Asia. Los hailing from Brazil. And surprisingly, you the people have 76% in favor of Bleed. That is not where I would have put my money.
I don't know, I gotta say, watching Bleed play yesterday on Consulate against CAG, I feel like they were a good team. They got the discipline, the setup, the crossfires, etc. looking good. And Los, I think there's one very big weakness in their gameplay, and I'm curious to see if Bleed, they kind of recognize that same thing. Yesterday, Los are up against Talon on Oregon. There's a 7-3 victory for Los, but they keep crouching onto Monty. The same thing they were doing domestically in Brazil, where whenever things don't work for Los, or just like when they want to start things off, it's always Monty, and no one seems to ban it against them. Bleed, yeah, they played Monty themselves against CAG on Consulate, but they have also tend to ban this operator domestically in their own region. So the question now comes, is it going to be a counterplay from Bleed? They ban first? No, it is going to be a counter, but not the kind that we spoke about. Ram being taken off the board instead. It's going to make that base and bombs a lot easier to play. Floor will stay more intact. Los, they can play Monty if they want to. Of course, could also ban it themselves, but that's not really normally what they go for. They like the Dokkaebi bans, they like the Fenrir bans, and this time they also like the Jackal ban. I said Los played this map 3 times. It was an 8-6 victory against Liquid, a 5-7 loss against Netshoes Miners, and a 7-5 victory up against FaZe. So, pretty experienced teams there.
Oh.
Asami. You're what?
Soulless?
Oh?
No!
No! We're actually so wrong today. I was wrong, you were wrong. Ram, Jackal, Asami, and Mira here for laps. Nothing too out of the ordinary. The Ram, of course, being a bit of an odd one out. But this is the thing. If your opponent has played this map 3 times domestically, you will look at it and you will basically say, okay, they tend to play this operator, they do vertical control play, etc. So by removing it, they're chilling.
Attackers need to locate and defuse as many bombs.
Basement, of course, will start. Makes sense. It supports the operator bans.
We're having some fun with the cough button right now, by the way. So this is like inside baseball for you watching at home. The 2 stream setups are ran a little bit differently, and the way that we use the boxes to talk are run a little bit differently as well. On the other stream, when you hold down the cough button, which is basically like your emergency mute button, you can't hear anything. You immediately, your mic mutes, you can't hear yourself, etc. On this setup, when you mute yourself, you still hear it in your ears, and I think you can still hear it as well.
I hear it as well.
So I was a bit alarmed because I thought, of course, I don't want cough to come out onto the broadcast, so I just decided to hold down the mute button. I went, la, 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 la.
And I heard it.
And Nick heard it. And we were told that the stream didn't hear it, and that's all that really matters. But now I suppose You did, after all.
It's always good fun. Now, what I want to see from Bleed here is they were pretty good at... So they lost the first round against CAG, and it was like, okay, they looked like they were a little bit lost. But that was the first time they played internationally, their first ever round. And following that first round loss, they did phenomenally. They won 4 rounds of the following 5 and just took complete control. In this first round, it's that one of the star players there, Hogan, find that opening kill. He plays those intel and counter operators, the solos, the IQ, etc. And he finds Stash on Finka, so a very high-value target.
Yeah, I mean, this was something that we saw with Bleed yesterday in their matchup against CAG, is that they seem to favor these early engagements quite heavily. And I mean, it doesn't always work out in your favor. There are times when you might be a bit too aggressive. You go for an early pick and you lose out on it. Finka dying early is something that we saw in that same matchup yesterday when Reaps was on that operator on attack. Lose that staying power that comes with those adrenal surges, right? You also lose the nades that come. But good news, you got backup. Dots on sledge. Hold on to those grenades. There's still some explosive capability for Los.
So Maya from Lowe's had a phenomenal game yesterday against Talon. Had like 14 or something kills. Popping off despite playing that support operator of Ace. Lopen though, yellow pin comes out, but no! Tursta, who is, it's his birthday by the way. He's 19 years of age as of today. He finds one of his first kills here in the very first round as well. Birthday boy.
Big struggles to get in the building right now for Los, which is something that we do tend to see on Nighthaven Labs. This is I would say a relatively defender-sided map as it currently stands, but its play rate is not at the level that I'm comfortable enough to say categorically it's a defender-sided map. I'd still like to see the meta develop a bit more. It is one of the 2 newest maps added. Consulate was also added at the same time. Yeah, Consulate's not a new map, I know.
I mean,
but it was changed.
Yeah.
So it's not the same map that it was before.
A struggle. I mean, those can barely get inside the building right now. They got yellow pings galore. They got C4s going up, but no damage going through. A 3 versus 5 favoring Bleed, and Los might just have to walk into the breach and gamble for the best case outcome here. Yeah,
and there's a bit of an obscurement as cameraman walks right in. The Dread Mine goes off. Mentalist will follow up with toxic canisters thrown out. Maya, the first pick so far for Los as cameraman trudges through. Dots on the board, another for Dots as well, and suddenly Los with the upper hand. Things started so badly in this round for them. Dots goes down to Hoven. Cameraman still pointed up in this position as Maya goes for the defuse. Cameraman will need to get the cross. He gets the Fenrir down. Aspie on the ground. Hoven is there in a 1v1. Maya with diffuser down will now go toe-to-toe with the Solus. All 3 kills, and Maya makes it look so easy. Round 1 goes to the Brazilian squad.
Speaking of the man, Maya finding success on the supportive operators of Ace in particular. First against Talon, now here also against Bleed. Man can injury, man can plant, the man can get the 1v1 clutch for his team as well. But the thing is, it didn't look like a convincing round for Los despite winning. They came down to that 3 versus 5, and yeah, they've picked up some kills, they get the bomb down, but it's not clean whatsoever. And Bleed, they were one smoke takeaway on the Toxic Babe to injure what was cameraman in that position, trying to go for the initial plant, and that would have made a huge difference because the cover wouldn't have been there. So one take off the gas makes a huge difference in the outcome of that round. The good thing is the Bleed on the defensive side, arguably favored, and go through this bomb site rotation, go away. Basement didn't work out, go upstairs instead. And they can also change operators around. They were very happy to do so against CAG yesterday as well on Consulate, where they go some, in-your-face operators, go for spawn peaks, jump out windows, but also they can play the utility. They can play the barbed wires, the deployable shields, the traps, and of course this round, Asvi on the Clash. You can just walk around this area, shut down entries, look where the attacker's going to be, and if anyone's isolated and alone, well, just walk into them with the Clash, with a teammate behind you to check them down, and try and go for those free picks. Asvi, of course, got to stay alive, though. Very important. Don't want to over-aggress with the Clash and find yourself dying too early in the round. That's kind of like playing Monty on defense. The longer you can be alive for, the better it goes for your team.
Watch the bomb site rotation here for this map, by the way, because there is quite a bit of flexibility on Nighthaven Labs. We started on that basement bomb site, EXO, as we refer to it. Next up for a lot of teams tends to be the top floor, which is what we see right now. And then you've got the main floor bomb site directly next to the garage. Sometimes kitchen.
Sometimes.
Sometimes Kitchen will show up second.
Well, not too often.
The thing I like about this Atlanta Major is that as we progress deeper into the event, we will start to get proper numbers as to which sites are played most.
Yeah.
So we can turn around and say, well, here in Atlanta, for example, they've gone to Kitchen, you know, only 4 times, something along those lines.
We saw Jack posted stats for yesterday's, the first day of the Majors. Side win rates, I think it was 48 for attackers and 52 for defense, so that's basically as close to 50-50 as you're gonna get. I mean, it's pretty even. It just goes to show that there's no really one-sided scenarios really that much anymore. Which means our theme park and Villa come into pro play, very defender-sided. And sure, Constant at 9 left might be, but not always. But Lopez jumps in the window, finds Turret. That's a free opening pick. He jumps right back out the window to stay alive.
The birthday boy, the first casualty, not ideal on any day, let alone a day of celebration. It's Turret down for the count. Adrenal Surge will go out, likely used by Loban to just pick himself back up in terms of HP, still below full HP mark. Dash will fall. You've seen the Kludge drones being piloted around to gain information, take out some default cams. Brava almost always provides good value, even if there are operators which maybe don't bring gadgets that can be taken over. A second kill following up for Los as there's Hoven down. Maya traded out as Asfi pulls out the sidearm, and oh, Loban, there's still somebody in there. Takes the head off of Asfi as Dots falls to Reaps. Both of these teams will continue to trade back and forth. Mentalist falls to Cameraman, and now Reaps will need to keep things close as Loban taking some more damage. One more Adrenal Surge to be used. The Finka has to get it out before they die, and does so, giving Cameraman a bit more power too. Everybody very injured at this point. They know exactly where Reaps happens to be, but Cameraman's not trying to get the diffuser down. Loban seals the deal, and that's 2 in a row for Los.
That's not pretty. A bit of panic on the side of Reaps, and I mean, when defenders are locked outside the bomb site, it's just not a good look. We do know one thing, though, on Nighthaven Labs, on that top floor CCTV bomb site that we just witnessed, every single team, they heavily play around that fish staircase area, which is where Reaps is finding themselves pretty much stuck outside the bomb site. It's an easy interway for the attackers to flank on in, but the issue is, if your front line dies, the people holding the actual bomb site control, and your last defender is on fish, well, you have one single or double door to walk through with a bunch of crossfires established up against you. So you're completely locked out. Asfi tried to make the play with the Clash, found 1 kill, had to go for the reload and couldn't get the second, and that's the issue. When you play the Clash, you play the Monty, you're basically only having 4 guns up at any given moment because the Clash and Monty are going to have to shield up instead. So when your initial roamers die on the defensive side, Clash is forced to go off the shield to even the gun numbers, but they don't get the intel. Don't get that pushback option that Clash provides your team with. Los, they find 2 rounds in a row. They'd see Blackbeard being hovered over by Dots for a brief moment, but no Blackbeard can play for this round, unfortunately. It's always a good time to see him tank a headshot and get a kill, and you go, you know what? If that was any other operator, I would have lived, but it's a Blackbeard, I'm dead. So G2 in Europe also, Doki bring it out a couple of times. When you ego challenge your opponents a bit, Blackbeard can be quite nice.
Bleed going back downstairs now. How will Los's lineup change? One thing that we saw yesterday in the Nighthaven Labs that you and I casted was that teams love to bring an abundance of hard destruction. And that exact same lineup is being brought in terms of 3 ways to get in to a bomb site. You've got the hard breach cannon, or the hard breach gadgets in Loban's hands, you've got the thermite on the board, and you've got the ace as well. Hoven wants an early engagement on the Solus, does so through the window before scampering off.
A risky one, but I mean, catch him by surprise, try and take down the Nomad or the Buck so they can do their job of soft destruction or flank watch and get a lot of value. That's the thing though, high risk, high reward, and I think if you're down, 0-2, you might as well try and play a little bit more risky. Try and stop Los from achieving their goal of puncturing the bomb set because they have both rounds so far.
Now it's Turds to get aggressive with this and walk away with the pick. Down goes Dots. Half of the round gone at this point, but oh, it gets worse for Los very quickly. Loban slaughtered by Asfi, who still roams above. Turds to the first casualty for Bleed, but they have built up an advantage. Not all hope is lost. Cameraman taken out by Reaps. This is just a complete set of domination off-site. Dash, a nice shot on Reaps. narrowing down those numbers before you can collapse on the remaining anchors. Asvi and Hoven were roaming. Looks like they've gotten closer to the bomb site as they know that the timer has ticked down with 1 minute left. You just want to ride this one out. You've set your site players up for a relatively easy execute given Dash and Maya's HP.
Yeah, and Bleed, they were so good yesterday in just like not dying in these positions, right? You got the man advantage, they have no help in the attacking side, they have little time to work with. You just cannot die right now to any vertical destruction from Dash on the sledge. Just stay on the exterior of the side, wherever the ceiling isn't broken, and let the attackers come to you. And I think Asvi just proning on the floor, Mentalist also in the corner. Hoven's the only person holding a risky angle, but he gets a free pick. It's Dash in a 1v3 now, and he's got no diffuser. He can drop a hatch, but it's not going to bode well for him because you're stuck in that mid-air drop animation. And Hoven, he's ready, but he gets shut down.
He's now breathing in some gas. This is a tough go for Dash with only 15 seconds left to grab the diffuser. Asvi on low HP, but Mentalist will be the bigger obstacle. There it is. Sidearm pulled out by the smoke, and it's easy cleanup for Bleed as they pick up their first round.
They still look happy as well. I see some smiles there. Not too phased by being down in round count. And that's the thing. If you find yourself, winning yesterday's games, going to upper bracket, you're in a best of one where if you lose, you go down to a best of 3. You still have another life in this tournament where if you had a bad time yesterday, you're playing for your life every single game to stay here in Atlanta. And when we got up this morning to take the shuttle to the studio, we saw players in the lobby with their suitcases ready to go to the airport. You don't want to be those players. You don't want to be that team. You want to stay here for a couple of days at the very least, build up that experience, take it home with you to your domestic region, and then improve your own team and the teams around you so that your region can rise up and perform better time and time again. And that's why it's so beneficial to have, the quote-unquote best teams in your region. Back when EG/CTM, they were dominating North America. They would always go to international tournaments, get experience, come back to North America, and scrim all the other North American teams and improve them. Same thing with T2 Penta, Empire, PDS, etc. in Europe. So having the same consistent few teams going to international tournaments to bring home that experience, very valuable. But to get that experience, you cannot go home on the first day or two. You gotta go, relatively far in. Otherwise, you don't get enough games under your belt. So, Lead, of course, very much aiming to get into that phase 2, and if they win right here, well, then they confirm their ticket to stay alive for a few more days. Something about cameraman and tech issues, Parker, because back in Brazil when we cast Lowe's,
I was just listening to the music. It sounded a little bit like Moonlight Sonata.
Oh.
But it
sounds
is not.
like a video game soundtrack in my ears. I'm not as...
It just sounded a little bit like it, obviously. But yes, cameraman having some issues. There seemed to be an issue with a specific PC in the Brazil LAN League that would cause issues time and time again. Cameraman, somebody who sat there in that spot. We assume he's the culprit, by the way, as we are in the midst of a tech pause. I'd like to remind you that there's also a match going on the other stream, and it's actually not Cameraman, by the way, who's been removed. No. I don't know why. Dots is the player who is currently not in the lobby.
You're right, there is an A stream to this as well. Where they are playing, I don't remember. Is it GK Crest?
I believe it is GK Crest, yes.
Crest, yeah.
GK a 96% likelihood or 98% or something like that likelihood of making it to the 6 Invitational.
It's very good numbers.
As you can see on the ticker on the bottom, only 5 spots remain for SI. And we'll see, I imagine we'll see every single spot locked in very quickly.
All right. We're going to go watch the A stream, by the way. We'll link you guys up so you guys can listen in and watch, and we'll come back when all the players have joined the lobby.
And that's the beauty of having a roster that has so much talent like GK does, and having an IGL-like leader that can, call things on the ball like that. Don't ask me. I don't know. Don't ask. Just don't. Don't even reference it.
Can't even reference it?
Nope.
It's right there.
Not allowed.
Well, there is one mirror window on the bathroom wall.
Thank
the
you.
other, we will not talk about.
Thank you.
We don't see it there that often, is all we'll say. But GK with that Capital on the board will definitely try to take control of Garage later on by a very immediate pathway. He just punches it.
Why is it there? Why? Crash Crest! Crest, you're doing so good. Why did you do this to me?
Hey, now they know. They're going for plat wall.
Hey, if you don't know, now you know, you know?
I mean,
TLP, there's no way that this is... Okay.
Did it break it?
Yeah, we were both listening. We're like, was that? Yeah, it did.
Listen,
it
all
did.
right, fair enough.
But like, here's also the other problem. There's already a huge gap in this wall now, you know? And it's like, yeah, you can toss impact through, and like, yeah, you guys got a good set of them. But there's a lot of different ways that you can handle this bomb site. So I don't know, man. That just makes it to where you can just naturally hold a cross right there. So it's a little back and forth, but it's working for Crest, right? That impact works out, so we won't give him too much grief about it. Key is going to work in down low, trying to find some homes for his frag grenades. Yopi, speaking of homes, looking to send Key to his. He's shifting.
We are back in action. Thank you so much for your patience. We had you tuning into Geek versus Crest, which is on mainstream at the moment. 2 streams returning after their departure in the Copenhagen Major, if you remember.
Attackers have discovered the location of a
Do
bomb.
you remember?
I do remember. I saw Reddit post about it. People seem to be very happy that A and B are back, so that everything's covered in good time. Yesterday was,
10
in the
seconds
end,
left
a
before
pretty
insertion.
long day for one stream because of delays and whatnot. It happened. We're back. Only had like a few minutes pause here in this particular matchup. Bleed and Low still undergoing. Bleed won their first round just before the technical timeout occurred. Lowe's on the first 2. We are not looking too hot in the first half of the round for Lowe's, but their late game has been excellent so far. Even the previous round, despite losing multiple members early, they still came down to a 1 versus 3, almost a 1 versus 2. So they always find that late round success.
It was a real scramble in the end of the previous round, but now you're in a position where you reset. Same 2 bomb sites favored by Bleed so far, and Maya just missing out on Turdsta. Now still holding this position. Just giving himself a little bit of protection as that Dread Mine is not too far away.
It's a classic, something went wrong last time, so let's do the exact same thing but better. I guess there is one difference though. Hovens and Kite this time try and trick the wall. So you stab down the jammers first. If the EMPs and Maya go out, you throw in a Kite Claw. You try and trick something and just play around the EMP economy. 1 EMP goes out here, only 2 remaining. Second EMP goes out as well. So now all of a sudden these Kite Claws, they will find more and more value. We did see Hoban actually go for that Kite Shuffle. So the second EMP was necessary.
Electro Shuffle.
Electro Shuffle.
It does not work out, but there's still one of those claws in back pocket. Turdsta out-dueled on the entry. Loban picking up the kill. That gives Los an advantage, but Loban finished off by Reaps before using an Adrenal Surge to pick himself back up. Reaps can be so formidable. Might have the most cursed mousepad placement. I don't know if you've seen Reaps' mousepad, but it is horrifying. We'll go back to a shot of all the players at some point. Now it's Mentalist under fire. Dots on rafters, sees the opening that was created by the Selmas, firing away as Aspie comes in to protect with Hoven right next to him. Now over towards Fish Stairs.
The fish there is very important to Taggers in the goal of flank. There it is, it's Dash this time. Walking up the staircase, finds the free kill onto Aspie. That's again, they clash down for the count way too early in these rounds. It leaves just Reaps, Mentalist, and Hoven in a 3 versus 4.
You can hear that TCSG going, and it can hit like a truck, but can't hit much. All the players of Bleed falling by the wayside. Now it's Reaps dying at the hands of Maya. Los pick up where they left off. They allowed Bleed a single round, but so far they have been very firmly in control. Los up 3-1.
Those, the fan vote all of a sudden, looking a little bit on the wrong side there. The vast majority of fans, they thought that Bleed was going to be the winning team, and oh yeah, I just saw Reaps' mousepad for a brief second there. It is like, look, it's like mostly off the desk, actually. Now, I do know that Reaps has an incredibly high mouse sensitivity, which is quite rare these days in Rainbow Six Siege. It used to be that North America and Europe, back when we had like quote-unquote 3 major regions, and Brazil, or Latin back then, we would all play like relatively slow or low sensitivity in North America and Europe. But then Brazil came into the mix, and they had this like really fast sense because they came from Battlefield. They're former Battlefield pro players. But even Brazil nowadays have gone down to this like lower, slower sensitivity. It tends to be favored by most of the Siege pro players. And then there's Reaps, who has like quadruple the speed of most players and doesn't need any of his mouse pad because it's so fast. And it might look cursed, but it's going pretty well for him. Domestically, Reaps is an absolute monster. And this game right now, he's 3-4. So he's doing pretty decent. Not standing out by any means, but still standing in it.
I mean, Bleed are still putting up a fight in most of these rounds, even if we do see Los as the superior team at this point.
It's true. So, third bomb site finally being picked here.
I was going to say.
The Kietchen. Don't see this all that often. Typically, Cargo is the tertiary bomb site. The thing I will say for Los, though, they've done a great job to open up all the walls in their attacking sides, but also Bleed haven't done all that much to stop them from doing so. Capture is open, so they're playing Mute, sometimes Kai, but no Bandit. So no tricking has really occurred, and Los are always granted a way in towards the building, into those bomb site walls, and they also do the pay respect and say, let's play double hard breach. So Cameron on Thermite, Lobot on Ace, even if one of them were to die, they can always get the walls open that they need for both the roam clear and the site execute.
The Fenrir roaming again upstairs of Asfi. This role's been passed around amongst a variety of players from Bleed. There goes Hoven. Turnsta as well will fall. Asfi too. All this action happening so far removed. And Maya again on the same level that we saw yesterday. Reaps far off site to return as Dots gets the diffuser down, and Cameraman ensures that the round is won flawlessly by Los.
Maya seemingly unstoppable both today as well as yesterday and also back in Brazil. He's so good. And it's one of those, in the current meta of Siege, having a quote-unquote support player able to play those entry and aggressive roles when you need them to, it's so valuable. Because imagine that it's Maya who finds himself in a good position, but he's not the kind of player who would go for those engagements. All of a sudden, it's a very passive kind of playstyle that we see from Los. But because Maya is the kind of initiator for his team, he says, I don't care if I'm Ace or Thermite or Finge or Ana, if I see an opportunity, I can just walk in and get some kills, I will do just that. And Bleed being down 1-4, they're going to call their tactical timeout and talk things through, and I think this is a pretty good spot. You can talk about the next following round of defense, aim for that 2-4 half, and of course also talk about your attack inside once the side swap comes through, and play for that long game, because right now in this situation, you have to play long game.
There you go, there's your shot. Look at the mouse pad. How the hell do you even use that? Like, that is insane. Exactly.
Yeah.
What?
Very high sense.
What is the sense there? That is...
And it's wired in. It's not even a wireless mouse either. It's super cursed.
If he just lets off his hand, the whole mouse pad would fall to the ground.
That actually would, yeah. It's got hunters for dear life.
I mean, I will say, it's no secret that I'm not a pro player, but I don't think I could ever do that. I don't.
I mean, I gotta say, though, if you're playing that kind of sensitivity, I do worry for your wrist long term. But the benefit of being a young gunner, if you will, Reaps is 20, I believe, is that your body doesn't scream at you as much at that age when you're doing things to it that it doesn't like. But as you get older, your back and your wrist, your arms, your elbows, etc., they will start hating you for those kind of things.
5 seconds
So
to go.
maybe with time, Reaps will be forced to change his mouse pad, but for now it works.
Attackers are moving out.
Bleed seemingly struggling here in the bomb site rotation of things. It's their third attempt on this basement bomb site. They have won it once on their second attempt. And it was still a close round, and they only really, quote-unquote, only really won it because the roam worked out. The site itself has not really favored them. But when Turnsta and Hoven are roaming up first floor, second floor, and they get a couple of kills, that's the only way that Bleed so far has found success in the individual gunfights and catching Los by surprise. But ever since that round, Los, they've slowed things down even further. They haven't put themselves into those like difficult or high-risk positions. They're always establishing a crossfire, having two people near each other. They're droning a lot. We see it here. Cameraman way outside the building, droning towards the window, seeing, okay, it's open again. They might swing it because last time, that's where Bleed got a kill.
No early pick again. I wonder if the timeout has shown that Bleed might want to play a bit more conservatively. They got some roamers over this Exo site, so maybe not.
Necessarily. I mean, the side itself already weakened because, again, the mirror ban is kind of punishing Bleed here. The second the wall gets opened up, there's no bandit in play, so that means instantaneously, at any given moment, Lowe's could just walk into this wall, throwing some flashbangs, throwing the smoke from dots maybe, and execute a plant play. It's possible, and they're still looking for it as well.
Oh, Loban just walks right in, and here are the guns for Los yet again. 2 early picks, and Loban finds safe harbor to get the diffuser down as Reaps falls. Los setting up quite well for another flawless round. And it leaves Aspie and Turnstile. Loban dies at the hands of Aspie. No flawless will be there, but Aspie will now need to clutch out before getting finished off by our familiar friend, Maya. The timeout obviously not paying off enough for Bleed. Diffuser goes down, and it's almost flawlessly done by Los, as they're up 5-1, and that's the first half in the books.
And that's the round after the tactical timeout from Bleed, where they talk it through, they counter strat, they figure things out, and they just get basically bomb site rushed, essentially. And it comes down to intel again and again. Lowe's, they have all this information to be like, okay, this area is clear, the bomb site is weak, there's at least 2 or 3 roamers. If you go quick on site and win your individual gunfights, you can just immediately start planting down that diffuser, and they waste no time. They droned the bomb site a single time with the Bravo drone, it got shot, and with that drone dying, they walked on in 2 people, both won their individual gunfights. Bomb goes down. The roam clear also seemingly working at the same time. So those are doing a good job of working both floors here. Both hitting the bomb side and the floor above it to secure that no vertical play from defenders can shut down the plant of the entries from those attackers. They put themselves in this 5-1 position. They now go on what usually is the favorable side of defense. And they have such a big lead, they can make mistakes. They're able to experiment with things and see what's going to work against Bleed. For this first round, it's a bit of intel on the Valkyrie, and some injury denied from Dots and the Aruni. A bit of a different setup than we saw from Bleed. And Maverick actually being brought out from the attack inside. We don't see Maverick played almost ever, especially when you have, well, Thatcher open, secondary in peace, no Heartbreacher bans have occurred either. Bleed might be playing for comfortability in guns here. Ash, Nomad, Buck, and Gridlock. No clear indication of what kind of attack they want to go for. It doesn't favor roam clear. It doesn't really favor the bomb site execute. It's pretty flexible, though. I'll give them that.
Well, it's the first showing of Maverick that we see, and he's a terrific operator for attacking this downstairs bomb site. If you struggle with the mute jammers, if you struggle with a bandit or a Kaid on the board, Loban dies, and now Maya will fall. Bleed very aggressive on their entry. Outgo track stingers as well from Aspie just to cover with sound and also provide some of that anti-flank capability. It's an attacker's game at the moment. Bleed with a big advantage with 2 minutes still left.
And that's a great position. It's going to force those to like kind of go for some swings here. Because if you let Bleed just walk through the map, do vertical destruction of the floor, all of a sudden the bomb site gets weakened so much more. Cameron falls as well. It's a 2v5 now favoring Bleed.
That's 3 players on Bleed, all getting involved in the action. Aspie and Hoven need one, and then a team ace is to be had. Dots and Dash. Last hopes for Los. We're looking for match point. This is a best of 1. So Los are already very close, putting them away, and there's damage being done as Aspie gets on the board. All you need is Hoven to get a kill, and it's a team ace, but will he be in a position to do so? As Dots is last left. Now get droned out. Look at this, a huge lineup. Nicely played by Dots, taken out by Mentalist, no team ace to be had. No honor among thieves, I suppose, as Mentalist steals the kill from an equally deserving teammate. But Bleed get the round either way. And if a comeback is bound to happen, winning the first or second round of this second half, it's a great way to build momentum and put yourself in a better headspace than I'm certain Bleed are currently in.
And it looked very convincing. I mean, the confidence from the side of Bleed, despite being down 1-5 to round score, is very impressive. And they didn't really stop taking they didn't take their foot off the gas at any point in that round. They were just going, never stopping. And the thing is, Bleed, they are a pretty flexible team on both defense and attack with operator lineup, so they can change things around based on what bombs that they see in front of them. Of course, there's still 30 seconds left. Attacker repick still in action, but Turtsta hovering the Munty currently, Mentalist onto a more methodical Heartbreacher of the Thermite, so things will change around based on what the attack is going to look like here. I'm very surprised that neither team on defense brought out a Bandit as of yet, And sure, it can be dealt with from below with the Ash, with the Sophia, with grenades, etc. But it does force the attackers to deal with that step first before opening up all those walls. In the breach, it's very important here in Nighthaven Labs.
Attackers are moving out to locate a bomb.
So far, the bomb site rotation has almost been perfectly rotating between that EXO and Command Center bomb sites. EXO Command Center, Kitchen. EXO Command Center so far. No cargo yet. As we talked about, is that tertiary bomb site is often wrestled over by these teams as to where you want to go. Kitchen was won flawlessly by Los on attack. So I don't know how eager either of these teams are going to be to go to a tertiary bomb site. There's a Monty on the board as well. A staple of Bleed, it was Mentalist who was playing this operator yesterday, if you recall.
Yeah. Usual attacker is going to be get the main breach open up. That's done. Now that you walk in through, garage catwalk here with the Monty and force out the player of Maya on that catwalk position, or you go across the map into the connector side and attack from the opposite side instead. The nade is beautiful. It was aimed for the barricade, perhaps or perhaps not, but it gets the kill. Because the barricades can be cleaned out by the Flourish drones instead. It's a really good start here again for Bleed in the second attacking round. And Monty has still not been shown by Turdstar, so they still got that secret weapon up their sleeve.
Reaps, after having the grenade do the damage himself, staring down that angle towards the doorway. Dash taking a lot of damage, but ultimately wrestling it away from Reaps now, as you can see at red dot underscope. Monty could aggress. Dots is aiming for something. There's a nitro cell there too. Kaid of Loban walking in. There's a nitro cell to go out. Turn him the other way.
Oh no.
What do you do at this point? Turdstar in tough spot. The closer he gets to the doorway, there'll be 2 nitro cells now. This is just a constant juggle. The Monty's wasting so much time. It forces Hoven to have to rotate around to help.
Yeah, they got no nades, no Flourish drones either. They can't kill this if on door frame, so I don't know if this is the angle here, Mr. Dots. You can wait for the C4 here. You don't have to extend into the Monty. Turdstar is so patient and gets rewarded for it time and time again.
Loban's been taken out by Aspie, but not before Mentalist has been down. Hoven finished off. Aspie will now need to guide Turdstar in as Mentalist is gone and not retrievable. Aspie putting that gun to good use. 6 kills, 6 deaths, looking to break even now with 2 remaining players for Los to be found. Aspie not holding the diffuser, finding cameraman though. Dots just needs to play the waiting game. 20 seconds remain. Aspie has to bring the fight to the mute, and here it goes, and he wins it! Dots just peaked. He was in an impossible spot at the top of Fish Stairs. Bleed have now won 2 rounds in a row. That gap closes slowly, but Los are still positioned very well to ride out this game and put it in the win column. They're going to have to do some work, though, in order to accomplish it. And the first step is to call a timeout.
Oh boy. And that round plays out that way without Monty really having any influence in the round as well. He was just stuck outside the fish store the entirety of the round. And I will say, great round play from Los into countering the Monty with the C4s, etc. But the catwalk portion fell apart, and Bleed didn't really capitalize on the fact that Monty could have rotated over, walked into catwalk on the side, and given his teammates so much valuable intel to work off of, and make a play on that side instead. But Bleed, when they played against Fury, the only time they've played Nighthaven Lab in both the LCQ and Stage 2, it was a 7-0 victory for them where they started on defense. So 6 defensive round victories into a single attacking round. So if you're Los and you're trying to analyze Bleed, you don't really have any of their attacking rounds to look at. You have a single one. That's it. That was still like a month ago. So all of a sudden you look at this going, okay, Los, maybe they got to figure it out because they saw how Bleed were defending on this map. Since the side swap, things have seemingly turned around. Could, of course, also just be a attacker side at Nighthaven Lab, although that would be very rare. So far, so good. When your opponent calls a tactical timeout, you know you got them exactly where you want them because things are not going their way or their coach is seeing a massive flaw in the system. We keep seeing Bleed change things around. Maverick onto Thermite. Back to Maverick again. Turdstar flexing quite aggressively now in terms of operators. Going from entry to the Monty to the supportive role instead. And that's the thing about Bleed. they do have the classic like 4 gunners and the old guy who breaches walls. By old I mean 23. That's the oldest guy that's Mentalist. But they do a good job, but despite having 4 gunners, they're all happy to change things around based on what bomb site, what map they're playing, and also who is having a good day. We've seen both Hoven and Mentalist and Turchta now play the Munty. We've also seen Turchta play Heartbreach and Mentalist as well. Ashe can be Entry, he can be Flex, etc. One thing that's always a constant seems to be that Reaps either dies first or gets the first kill more often than not. Every player, or every team that needs that kind of player that just gets in there and gets it done. For this team, that's Reaps.
So far, only a single round has been won by the defenders. That was Bleed all the way back in round number 3. This has been an absurdly attacker-sided Nighthaven Labs. It's bad news for Los and their fans, as they will find themselves on the wrong side. This round not going any better, though. Starting off with Maya dying at the hands of Turchta. Maya at 1 point, 10-2, now 10-5. Has not really had much influence on the second half of the map.
Was the downside of having one individual stepping up in some of the rounds, that when that player gets shut down or stops stepping up, all of a sudden your team is not getting a whole lot of kills. If you look at the kill count, Bleed, their top gunner on 8, bottom on 4, they're very much close together. Whereas for Lowe's, Maya sitting on 10 a while ago, the bottom is Dots on 3. The gap was even bigger, it was Maya on 10 with Dots on 1 earlier on. So more of a team effort in the kill department for Bleed. All of a individual heroics from Lowe's. Lobin taking a little bit of damage as well now. The roam being just completely cleaned off by Bleed here. Don't have a lot to in the room anymore, and most of them just have fun battles on the bomb side. They got Valkyrie cameras to work with, Solar Scanner as well. So they can have intel, but can they act upon it? They have one C4 on the puck of Dash that could maybe get a kill later in this round, but so far it's not been pulled out.
I do like it for Los, the fact that there hasn't really been a follow-up or a loss yet. The thing with this Los team is that if you can at least wait for the push, you hope that your gun skill will carry you through whatever ensuing fray there is. Waste time, set up your anchors well, maybe have a good flank. You're obviously going to have to contend with both a Nomad and a Gridlock, which is quite obnoxious. That's a team flash, by the way, from Hoven. He vaults on in. Lobin gets Hoven. Try to say that 10 times fast. It's a trade as Turks has been down, but so too is Lobin. Diffuser was attempted by Reaps. He falls off of it. Los winning their duels. Mentalist finding Dots. He'll need 2 more to win the round for his team, but with only 15 seconds left, that might be an even bigger obstacle. I think he's boxed out. I don't even think he can get into the bomb site. He'll have to cut his own way in as Maverick. And the Nitro Cell from Dash will propel Los to match point.
Oh boy, I mean, that could have been so good. If Mentalist had the cover there, the protection for the plant for Reaps, they get a post plant outside the building with the breach being closed off, and the bomb goes down successfully as well. But a bit of a either mistiming or miscommunication, because somebody snuck past Mentalist and stopped the plant from going down. And this was kind of Bleed almost trying to replicate how Lowe's were attacking that base and bomb side. They were still actively on the roam clear while they're trying to get down that diffuser at the same time. And the thing is, it's a high-risk situation because you're spread across the map on 2 different floors. You don't have a lot of manpower to help one area. And that's what we see. If Mentalist doesn't get the cover correctly, no one else can do it for him in his stead. The plan gets stopped, and with that, the round goes to Lowe's. And on match point, up 3 rounds right now, 6-3. They're going to take us to the cargo bomb site, and that concludes it. We've seen all 4 bomb sites now between these 2 teams, but we've not seen one team themselves play all 4.
No, not unless they lose this round and then go to Kitchen next.
10 seconds left.
That's still possible.
That's still possible.
That's still possible. There are 2 more rounds to go. Should Bleed prevail. 5-1 first half for Lowe's put them in such a strong position that there's very limited room for error for Bleed. Lowe's surrendering an early pick in the previous round obviously knocked them off their stride, but they were rock solid through the mid-round, not giving away too much, and then the final moments of the round ultimately overpowering Bleed on their push. See some bandit tricking now by Cameraman, but he falls off as the Selma seemingly makes next to no noise. Missed opportunity for Los, but can potentially put those bandit batteries somewhere else and hope for the best.
I do think Cameron was a little bit too late there for the wall and the bandit trick, because he just arrived when the Selmas came onto the wall. A little bit too slow on his part, but that's the thing about the setup. Turd Step finds the opening kill again so many times in this matchup so far. Reaps looking for a second. The aggression still being kept up here by Bleed. Not giving Lowe's that much space in this map, despite this Lowe's actually on defense.
First pick through these 4 attacking rounds for Bleed have been exceptional. Los won the first blood duel back in the first half, 4-2. That means Bleed has 6 of the 10 rounds where they have held some form of advantage. Reaps getting another, this time onto Dash. 6 kills on Reaps. Underwater in terms of kill count, which is something that is a bit unusual for Reaps in the role that he plays on. But, I mean, if the rest of the team is doing all right, that doesn't matter. Stats on the left side of your screen will show you that Asfi is the only positive player at the moment in terms of KD. And the scoreline should suggest that Los are doing much better in terms of killing. Maya, who has the most kills in the lobby, has gone 4 rounds now without being in any way, shape, or form an impact in terms of kills.
Oh, no.
Oh, that would have been embarrassing had Dots lost that one. Now onto the ground, surprising the ever-living hell out of Hoven. Who will be the next one to find Dots? There goes Turds to Maya, so Maya does get on the board. Dots popping up, can't handle the recoil. Reaps punishing him for that. Los
as well.
losing all their players except for Cameraman in a 1v3. Cameraman, one of the most experienced players in all of Rainbow Six, will need to clutch out this 1v3 in order to give his team the victory. Can he do that? 35 seconds remain. Across, smoked off, he'll walk right through it, but it's Asfi watching. Just too many sets of eyes to contend with. Bleed, 4 rounds now on the board, 3 of them coming on attack. They're close, they're closing in, but Los will sit on match point for the next 2 rounds, and the pressure will be on both of these teams and will continue to grow.
Not sure what happened there for Los. Out of pressure was an issue because shots were definitely missed and a bit of a, I don't know, lack of decision making. It's similar to the cargo bomb side. They went upstairs, just hiding in corners, not really establishing a crossfire, not playing proactively on the map. Bandit tricks didn't go through successfully either from Cameraman. So strategically speaking, it looked like Los didn't really know what they wanted to accomplish on that cargo defense. And I'm very glad to see them change off of it with this top floor bomb side locking up instead. They had better success up there at least. In a way, it looked more like they had a plan. Bandit still being brought out though, big fan of that. Same with the castle from Maya. You can kind of compartmentalize, close off some angles. Of course, again, the bandit trick, if you are successful, will stop the attacks from getting any entry towards the bomb site, and that can literally win you around single-handedly. It's also no surprise that Turchstyle will go back to the Monty when he sees this site being the situation that it is. But hopefully, Turchstyle will find more success this time. Last time they went to that fish store, was C4 placed above it. They had no EMPs, no florist drones, no grenades, couldn't clean it out. Turchstyle was forced to watch his teammates die from outside the building, and he couldn't help them. It was a clutch though. It was a round success for Bleed in a 1v1, but it was way too close for comfort.
I mean, the scoreline would suggest that Los has been a better team, and I would argue that that's the case. But it has been a relatively competitive match.
It has.
I don't know if one team can really have sole ownership of better squad. I mean, the way that this round could potentially play out, go all 12. That's close. That's very, very close.
And there's been some 1v1s, there's been some 1v2s, there's been close scenarios. Bombs almost going down, and bombs moved in at the very last second. But same setup from Lowe's. The castle barricades to deny entry towards catwalk, but the slits would clean it up real quickly. Bandit got some value, deny one summer early in the round, and all eyes will be on Turchstyle for the entry. Where is the Monty? Because right now it's Reaps just walking in single-handedly looking for a fight.
Dots getting lit up by Reaps as Loban cannot shoot away at the feet. And will now vault and capitalize before Reaps can really do too much. Loban hops on back over and should be retrievable, but you're next to a soft wall. That's always a scary predicament. Down goes Dots, so the Monty now having some influence. Mute Jammer stopping the Selma from going off. Utility work from Bleed has not been as good as it could be, in large part because it's been thwarted by Los. 4v4 with half the round still left to play. Oh. Cameraman coming up, taking out Hoven. Now it's Turdsa to engage. taking a bunch of damage. 2 players from Los now in this position, both Maya and Cameraman, as Mentalist walks in, giving his position away. He'll challenge the head as down goes Turrets. The Mentalist is gone as well. And Aspie dies, giving Los a victory. They're on to phase 2. That's all they needed.
Yeah. And I mean, it was a convincing game for them. Yeah, there were some close rounds, but Los did look like the better team, and that's the thing in best of ones. A couple of rounds go your way, and you look at yourself being the victor. The thing is, the Los of this matchup, Bleed in this case, they're not going home. Onto lower bracket, they got a best of 3 later today against CAG.
So it will be a rematch. Bleed and CAG played in our very first match yesterday. It was a best of 1. This time, we'll see. Is Bleed still the better team today as they were yesterday? There'll be 3 maps, though.
Yeah.
The loser of that contest goes home. It'll be a bit disappointing for them, but Bleed's still in it. They've got some time to prep for their best of 3 in about an hour or so.
Yeah.
The story, though, is Los coming in, surprising people, coming in through LCQ, and now moving on to phase 2. We also had a result from the previous game, but I'm not going to spoil it, so now we know 2 of the teams that will be competing in phase 2 is Geeky and Crest. We're doing battle on the main stream.
Yeah. If you're Bleed, in terms of preparement, you got to look at your defenses, right? Losing as many as you did on Nighthaven Lab, the defender side of map, not good enough. Their attacks looked a lot better, but it's too late at that point.
So with Talon being eliminated by Cyclops, Cyclops AG have an opportunity to send yet another APAC team home, this one from Southeast Asia. Bleed had the upper hand yesterday. But that's only 1 map. A best of 3 is a totally different ball game. Will Bleed still be the better team? Well, they've at least had a little bit of a warm-up. They've already played a match. Cyclops are going to be coming in, quote-unquote, cold.
Yeah.
One of those teams will go home. That's going to be on this stream in
an hour and a half or so.
Hour 45? Nope.
Just like that. Today's a pretty short day as well. We got less games today, but of course, much bigger, if you will, impact, because either you're qualifying or you're going home for pretty much every single matchup. So, yeah, exciting stuff.
I mean, the story that we're going to see, and the stats will be up on the screen in just a moment here. The story that is going to be talked about, that was discussed yesterday and now also will be talked about today, is Maya's ability as a player. Not just in the role that Maya plays, but in the kill department. Maya has been simply phenomenal through the 2 maps that Los have played. Now, admittedly a small sample size.
Yeah, but still. I mean, even domestically, Maya was a killing machine, and you said that Maya was like 10-3, then 10-5, so he went multiple rounds without getting a single kill, and he still finishes 13-6 with 3 kills with the second gunner of Lopin.
And the one thing that I will point out on Los's side is Cameraman. Cameraman got dogged on really hard in stage 2 for just not being up to snuff with the rest of the team. Multiple games where Cameraman would struggle to get a first kill or would go an entire game without a kill at all. This time, not just showing up, playing that support/flex role as Cameraman did, not being the first point of entry, surviving long enough to make an impact with utility on both attack and on defense, but then going positive. An 8-5 scoreline for Cameraman these days is very good.
Yeah.
So that'll obviously buoy the success and buoy the chances of Los. It's good to see a team effort.
It is, and I mean, you said people in Harlem, you and I went Harlem, right? Because we're the ones who cast him back in Brazil. So yeah, and we see him doing better, and got that dub for Los.
I gotta figure this one out, by the way. This is our schedule on this stream. Coming up next is Bliss and SSG. Both teams prevailed yesterday. One of them will move on to phase 2. The other will go down to the lower bracket and face potential elimination. Who will it be? We'll find out, because we got a break ready for you. We'll be back in just a couple minutes.